All right, well, hey, welcome. Again, you guys know everything about me, so through Joe, but again, my name's Terry, Terry Ben. I'm the Assistant Safety Director. Again, I did drive. I did tow away mainly. I had my first truck had 768,000 miles on it when I finally retired it. And my second truck, I had around 300,000 on that when I retired that one. They both started off around 80,000 miles, both of them did, so when I bought them. That's kind of the way I started. I started with buying used vehicles instead of a brand new one, just because it actually, to me, it worked better that way. I was able to, not have that big debt hanging over my head as well, going out there on the road. So I don't know how you guys started off, but that's kind of the way I started off. Did drive away as well, mainly tow away, but I did end up buying a little tow car. I did notice somebody out here actually has a tow dolly. If that is what you brought with you to tow behind a camper, you cannot use that. So no tow dollies allowed. It's only tow bars. So if that is your tow dolly and that's what you're planning on using to tow your car back, unfortunately you won't be able to use that. So just, whoever that is, just to let you know. But yeah. Because they just, as far as damage, they've not had a lot of luck with those. And so I think that's probably the main reason. We've never, I think, since I've been here, we've never used them, ever. And so that's, that's all I can tell you there. I mean, we just never use them. Tow bar, it's more of a solid mount. It works a little bit better. And so that's what the only thing that we do use is I actually purchased mine through a company called eTrailer down in Missouri, and they just sent everything to me, and I put it on a car myself. So, but anyways, I did mainly tow away, but I did do a little bit of drive away. So I know both aspects of the of those positions. So, like Joe said, as far as the haul and tow, it's a good idea to maybe eventually try to get into that once you become seasoned and know what you're doing. Those guys can really pull down quite a bit of cash. So. So that might be something you can think of. If you notice on here, please, no food in here. You can have drinks. That's fine. Just make sure they're covered. I'll give you guys a couple breaks here and there during the class, and we'll go out and you guys can use the bathroom, get something to drink and stuff. Usually pretty quick breaks, just so we can get through the class and get it done. That's pretty much all about me. Again, I'm probably moving. Is this okay to move back and forth, or you want me kind of in this area? Okay, I'll try to do that. Oh. All right, we're going to be using this book. It's actually your Independent Contractor Information Guideline. That's the one we're going to be using. It's the thicker book in your packet. One of the things also in your packet, you guys will notice, somebody was in here asking, different people, are they available to talk to? Absolutely. There's, as far as email and their direct phone numbers, you guys should have a list in your packet with everybody that works in the office, their direct phone and their direct email. So that's the best way to get a hold of somebody, especially when you're starting off and you're trying to get a hold of your dispatcher. A lot of times it's kind of hard to get a hold of your dispatcher when you're trying to call them, because they're on the phone all the time. So it's a good idea to use that email and reach them that way. If you're looking for a load or something like that, email them. They'll get back with you pretty quickly. Yeah, it's this packet right here. It's the thicker packet. It's called Independent Contractor Information Guideline. Remember, this packet right here, you guys are going to carry this with you at all times. At all times. I mean, no matter where you're at, you need to have that with you. It has some different permits in there and information on breakdowns, information on if you have a damage, just different stuff in there. And it's a good idea not just to go over that packet today in class. It's a good idea to go over that when you're out on the road. You've got nothing else to do, go over the packet. Tonight when you're at the hotel, it's a good idea. You guys can actually get through this whole book tonight just reading it. There's some information that, I'm not going to be able to cover everything today in this classroom. If that was the case, we'd be having a 4-day classroom like it used to be. And I'm sure you guys don't want that. So we're going to try to get through as much as we can. Today you'll go. Tomorrow you'll have another class that starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. You'll be able to, you're going to learn about safety and damages and stuff like that tomorrow. So again, welcome. Marion is the owner, president of the company, and usually he's down here. Sometimes he'll come down and meet the new classes. He might be in tomorrow to introduce himself to you. It's the only company I've ever been, that I've ever worked for, where the president of the company or the owner will actually give you a call and on your birthday. And usually he'll call you a couple times during the year, but for sure he's going to call you on your birthday no matter what. And not just call you and say, hey, happy birthday, talk to you later. He's going to call you, happy birthday, how you doing? What can we do to, what do you like about the company? What don't you like about the company? He spent a lot of money on training for the employees here at Horizon, just to be able to serve not only our outside customers, but also serve you guys. And so, they've done a lot as far as the training, as far as that goes. And so hopefully that helps out when it comes to talking to you guys, helping you out and stuff. So like I said, he's very involved in the company. He's made it what it is today. He ended up purchasing the company from his mom and dad, who Melvin Schrock, he passed away in, I think, around 2006. He was basically the one who started this company. And Marion's just made it bigger and bigger. And his mom, Ruth Ann, you'll still see her working here at Horizon. You'll see her going around the building. She'll actually answer some phone calls and stuff like that, talk to you guys on the phone, and do some check calls and different things like that as well. Again, like I said, he'll call you on your birthday. Horizon Transport Incorporated is dedicated in being a leader in the transportation industry, providing the highest quality of service through the use of safety-minded professionals, resulting in supreme customer satisfaction. That's one of the biggest things that we really try to strive and live up to all those things. One of the biggest things is the safety. I always really kind of push that safety thing, because you guys are going to go out today. Some of you have never done anything like this, as far as drive bigger vehicles and stuff. Maybe you might have pulled a trailer around or different things like that. But as far as like pulling a bigger camper or driving a big motorhome or something like that, it's a whole different story out there. Okay, especially we're just getting through the winter season, which is good. But you guys are still going to go to some places that it's still going to be icy roads, where you're going to be running into possibly black ice and stuff like that. Just be careful with that stuff. If you think the weather is too bad, you're probably right. This is not the kind of company that we're pushing you guys, hey, doesn't matter, you guys got to get it there. Doesn't matter, you got to get there. No, that's not the company you work for. We'd rather you pull over the side of the road, get someplace safe, stay there until the weather gets better. If it's real windy out, and they're going to talk about that tomorrow, if the winds are higher than a certain amount, you guys need to be pulling it over anyways. If the roads are bad and icy or slick, you need to be off the roads. We don't want you on the roads during that time. There was a time I was shut down in Fargo, North Dakota for 2 days for the simple fact that the weather was bad. We're not going to jump all over you guys for taking care and being safe. So make sure that you're thinking about those things. I had a driver not too long ago tell me, she ended up putting a trailer on its side. She goes, yeah, I knew the roads were really bad. Okay, I'm thinking, okay, if you knew the roads were really bad, then why were you on them? And so make sure that, if you think the roads are too bad to be on, they probably are. Go ahead and get off the road. We want you to be safe. Being a professional, that's another, big thing that Horizon's really, really pushes. There's going to be times that you guys are going to go to different dealerships and stuff like that, and you're not going to like what they say, or, there's some places you'll go, and you'll be in and out of there in 10, 15 minutes. They'll do a check-in, they'll do one of those walk-arounds real quick and sign your paperwork, and boom, you're out of there. Those are the places that we love to go. But then there's going to be some places where it's going to take 2 hours before you get out of there, and you're going to get aggravated, and they're going to start writing stuff down, and you're going to get, upset about that. Be the professional. Just don't get upset. Just do what they need you to do, and then get your paperwork signed and get out of there. Don't ever argue with anybody. If something is happening at a dealership where you feel like they're being unreasonable, you need to contact Horizon. We'll take care of it. Don't you take care of it. I mean, because you don't want to get yourself in trouble. And of course, you want to be the professional when you're out there. Driving a tire is really important to Horizon as well. Not only in the office, but out of the office. When you guys are out there driving, it used to be, if you guys notice there on page 4, it talks about it, as far as your shirt, your pants, your shoes, your hat, all that good stuff. We want we don't want anything on your shirts that are offensive to people. We don't want anything on your hats that are offensive to people. stuff like that. We want you to look good. We want you to smell good. And you know, some people laugh when I say that, but it's true. There are some people that unfortunately haven't taken a bath in a while. We need you guys to go into these dealerships because that first impression is very important. When you go to some place, you know, we want them to feel like, you know, Horizon drivers care about the stuff that they're driving. Also, they care about themselves. They care about the name of Horizon as well. So, you know, we want you to carry yourself and look good. It used to be when I first started working here, you couldn't wear shorts at all. You know, there was no shorts allowed, period. Now, finally, you know, they're allowing the shorts and stuff as long as they're like a, you know, like a golf short, kind of like UPS or something like that. No basketball shorts or sweats or anything like that. You know, we'd rather you not wear that type of attire. Passengers, drive-away contractors are not allowed to have passengers in the unit unless they are also under contract with Horizon. Horizon will allow 1 passenger per year. You can always get a pass. If you're not a contractor, you're not supposed to be riding with them. You know, I'll just tell you this much, in the trucks, we don't really monitor that because it's your truck. When it comes to the drive-away side of it, you can't have any passengers. Definitely no kids at all, period. You know, nobody under 18 years old, and you can't even get a pass for that. So, you know, that's important that you have no passengers in there, please. Smoking. Smoking is not allowed in any of the units, okay? If you smoke, there should be no evidence inside the unit. You are responsible for the bill if the unit needs to be professionally cleaned, and you don't want to have to pay that bill. It's expensive. You know, so if you do smoke, I'll just tell you right now, be careful, because that smoke smell can get on your clothing, and then you get in a unit and you end up, you know, laying on the couch that night, or you know, you're in the seat and the seat is a cloth seat, and that smoke smell comes off on the seat. Somebody who's checking the unit in, they're not a smoker. They walk inside there and they can smell it, you know, pretty easy. That's the way I am. I don't smoke, and I can smell it just like that. So, you know, just be careful of that. If you're a smoker, make sure that you definitely don't smoke inside the unit at all, and then also make sure that you know, if they have plastic on the seats, leave the plastic on the seat if you're a smoker, because you don't want that smell coming off on the seats, and then you end up having to pay for a bill. We don't have that a lot. I think we've had maybe 1 or 2 of it since I've been in the breakdown and damage department. So I don't hear of that, you know, hardly ever. But you know, there has been the times where we've got a cleaning bill because somebody smoked in the unit. Your cell phones. Each contractor is asked to have an active smartphone with the voicemail activated. Your cell phone is considered your primary number. Cell phones are not to be used while driving. We all know that. Commercially wise, that's a big fine. I think they'll talk about it tomorrow, but it's like $27.50, I think, to the driver. It's like $11,000 to the company. So make sure you're not using your cell phone when you're driving. It's probably, they say, I think it's one of the biggest killers of teenagers right now is cell phone use and stuff, but I would probably, you know, say that it's probably pretty close in adults as well. You know, I see a lot of people on their phones swerving all over the road. I was behind a guy the other day. He was just all over the place. And finally, when I finally got behind him, I could see that he was messing with his phone and doing stuff on his phone. And I'm thinking, man, this guy is going to kill somebody. And I'm glad I just finally got away from him, because it was really bad. I mean, where he was going completely on the other side of the road, the line all the way over on the dirt. I mean, it was ridiculous. Again, make sure that another thing with your cell phones is make sure that you have your voicemail activated. Sometimes I've called people and their voicemail might be activated, but the voicemail is full. So every once in a while you want to empty that out. Usually if we're trying to get a hold of you, it's usually about something, you know, to do with the load that you're on, or possibly get you a reload. So those are the things that you want to know about. And so that's why we're usually trying to get a hold of you on that. Plus, having a smartphone, usually most people have a smartphone now. You'll be able to, you know, get the app, the Horizon Transport app. After today, you'll be able to go ahead and download that, and you're going to use your driver number, and then the last 4 of your Social Security number will be your password to get the app activated and stuff. So, which is really nice. I wish they would have had the app when I was driving. It would have made life a whole lot easier. You guys have, like I said, they've invested a lot of stuff to get that app, It used to be, you know, you had to call everything. You know, I had to call in to do a check call. I had to call in and do a delivery call. I had to do, you know, turn my paperwork in. You know, you can do everything through the app now. It's so much nicer. So, your cell phone, if you fail to answer your phone 3 consecutive days, Horizon will assume that you are no longer interested in offering your services, and you will be placed on the inactive list. It's inactive. It's not saying you're deleased. It's just you're inactive. You just haven't done anything. You haven't, you know. So basically, you call in, say, oh, hey, you know, I've been on vacation or I've been gone for whatever. We have some drivers do that. We have some people that, you know, they're gone for 3-4 months out of the year, and then they come back and start driving again. You know, they'll go to Florida for the winter. Then as soon as it starts to get nice, they come back up and start driving. So we have quite a few drivers that end up doing that. As far as your mileage, we compute your mileage with the PC Miler. And it goes city center to city center. You're allowed 6% out of route miles, and then anything over the 6% will be charged back to the driver at $1 per mile. Again, that doesn't happen real often. We've had a couple cases where that happened, but usually it's extreme. I had this one driver, they couldn't deliver on the weekend, so they decided, well, since I can't deliver, I'm going on vacation. So basically drove all up and down the coast of California, put an extra 400 miles on the unit, and the customer wasn't very happy with that. So, you know, different things like that, you know, that's a little bit excessive. You know, they usually, you know, a few miles here and there, they usually don't say nothing, but when it's excessive like that, they're definitely going to say something. So.
You use practical miles on the PC Miler?
Yeah, it's basically, well, city center to city center, and basically what they'll do is the factory, they will say this is the route we want them to go, because there's some of them where they don't want you to go paying for different tolls, because the factory pays for those. And so they'll say, well, we don't want you going this way because we'll have to pay this much for tolls. But let me say this, when I used to drive, they did that as well. Still do. The factory is the one that makes that determination. And so what I would do, like there was this one route I used to go all the time, and it would route you around it, so you wouldn't have to pay the tolls. But I'd end up using more fuel, and it was more wear on my truck. So I ended up I would just go the way that it cost tolls more. I would have to eat those tolls, but it saved me anyways on the long run. So you have to kind of calculate that stuff. And again, just like Joe said, this job is kind of like you're going to learn different things as you're driving over the years. Man, my first trip was a disaster. I mean, I had never did anything like this in my life. I did the logging incorrectly. I did everything wrong my first trip, and it was to Canada of all things. And like I said, I did everything wrong. And so you learn as you go. The nice thing about now compared to then, there's more apps that will help you out as far as, you know, where I can stop, the different fueling places, all this different stuff that you can use with your phone makes it so much nicer now. So you guys will it's a little bit easier. Where am I at here? Unauthorized vehicles or things that you can't do. Okay, our customers require that contractors do not eat in the units. They lie in the beds, remove blankets or bedspreads from the closets in the unit. If you close the curtains, they must be retied before you deliver, and you are not allowed to use any of the appliances in the unit. That means nothing. No TVs, no microwaves, no ovens, no refrigerators, and definitely do not use the bathroom. You know, and so, you know, and people laugh about that, but we've had that happen before. So make sure that you don't do that. You know, if you get the pains, you need to be pulling over someplace and finding someplace else to go. So, but don't use the bathrooms in the unit. You know, that'll definitely get you looking for a different job. So, tire chains are prohibited. You cannot use tire chains. And yes, you're going to go places that it says right on the signs, tire chains are required. Yep, you have to have them. And let me just tell you this much. In the drive-away division, I've never heard of anybody getting a ticket for not having tire chains. Just because, you know, most of these DOT officers know that you're transporting these things. Yeah, you know, why would you carry tire chains for units that you're, you know, different size tires and all this stuff? So I've never heard anybody getting it. I'm not saying they couldn't do it, but I have never heard anybody getting them. getting a ticket for that. Now, when it comes to the tow away side, absolutely. When I did tow away, I just bought a set of tire chains, kept them in my toolbox, and never used them. They're brand new. Never used them one time, because if it's that bad that you have to have tire chains, you need to be off the road anyways. But you can't put them on the units. If you're pulling one of our units or driving one of our units, it doesn't matter. Even if you have them with you, you're never going to put tire chains on a unit ever. You know, if you do, and those things come off and they cause damage to the unit, guess who's paying for it all? You're paying for every bit of it. Do not run out of fuel. That's a big no-no when it comes to this job as well. And make sure you please do not put the wrong fuel in. And that happens. If you do end up putting, let me get back to not run out of fuel first. If you run out of fuel, if that thing is on a quarter of a tank or a quarter of a tank when you get in it, or when you're going down the road, it's a good idea to start finding some place to get some fuel, because those gauges aren't the best gauges in the world. And I've seen them run out of fuel before at 1/8 of a tank. So make sure that you're getting someplace. They start to get down to a quarter tank or a little under. Be getting someplace to get some fuel or gas or whatever you have to get. And the other thing is, don't run them out of fuel. Don't put the wrong fuel in. And we've had that happen several different times. And if you do, and you realize that you did do that, don't start it, whatever you do, because that can range. Okay, yeah, you're going to probably pay a tow bill, and you're going to pay for whatever it costs to get that unit, you know, get it cleaned out and all that stuff. But it can range from $1,200 to $12,000, you know, depending on what you do. And so make sure that you're not, you know, putting the wrong fuel in. Again, if you do, just don't do anything. Make sure you don't start it, whatever you do. Give us a call, let us know what you did. And don't lie, don't make up some big story. I just had a driver the other day, or actually it's been a little while ago, he made up some big, you know, story about how he put the, you know, somebody else was out there and they ended up putting the fuel in his truck while he was in the truck stop and all this stuff. We ended up getting video and it shows him pumping the thing full of fuel, and so you know, we'll find out. They have cameras at all these truck stops and stuff, so make sure that you know, just tell us the truth. You're better off that way. Dispatching. All drivers can view loads, outbound and reloads using the new mobile app. That's not going to be in your book. We don't have that in there yet. Eventually, you know, hopefully that information will be in there, but right now it's still not. The new app, again, it's really new. We've only had it a few months now, and it seems to be going over very well. Most drivers really love it. The nice thing about it, you not only can look at all the loads, but you can eventually, you'll be able to dispatch on it. You'll be able to, you know, you'll be able to take all your pictures as far as pre-trip pictures, post-trip pictures, all kinds of, you know, stuff that you can do right through the app. You'll be able to look at all the loads, outbound loads and reloads, which is really nice. I mean, you know, and eventually you'll be able to dispatch yourself. Once you hit the 25,000 safety miles and then you're compliant, you'll be able to dispatch yourself. Which is really nice, especially when it comes to after hours or a weekend. And you want to get another load and nobody's here, because dispatchers are only here Monday through Friday, you know, 8 to 5 o'clock. And so it comes to the weekends, you want to load. It'll be nice to be able to dispatch yourself. And plus, just being able to dispatch yourself is just nice anyways. I mean, when I was driving, when I got my 25,000 safety miles, plus back when I drove, there was other hoops that you had to jump through. Not only that, you had to do this, you had to have a Canadian load, you had to have this, and so there's a lot of different hoops. Now, basically, you're compliant, you've got 25,000 safety miles, you get to look at the dispatch board. And then eventually, like I said, 25,000 safety miles, you'll be able to dispatch yourself. And basically all you do is get on there, get on the app, find the load that you want. Hey, I want this load. You push it. It's going to ask you to confirm it. You confirm the load. It's going to send all your paperwork to the checkout station. And not only that, you'll be able to look at reloads as well. Reloads are loads that do not originate from the Michiana outbound yards. Occasionally, you'll be assigned a reload with your outbound dispatch. After delivering your unit, you should contact dispatch to check for available reloads in your area. Any qualified contractors can self-dispatch reloads 1 day in advance. Yeah, that's really nice to be able to find those reloads, and you'll be able to look at those as well. So what I always tell drivers, when you're out on the road and you know you're going to a certain area, every time you stop, I would be looking at that board. Get on the app and say, and you see something. Hey, this is going to be in that area that I'm going. Man, you want to call your dispatcher or send them an email right away and say, hey, listen, I want to get that load. I wouldn't wait a long time on that kind of stuff because those loads go like that. So if you're hee-hawing around trying to determine whether or not you want that load or not, good possibility it's going to be gone by the time you make up your mind. Western 11 states, the Coburg, Oregon terminal manages all the dispatch assignments from the western states. If you have ADS, you can self-dispatch these loads yourself. All other contractors need to contact the Oregon terminal for load assignments. And again, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to see those on the app as well, the loads. But if you're out there in that area, do we have anybody out there that's in that area this time? Nope, nobody from the west side. Okay, all right. Some guys, what they do is they get out there and they just stay out there because we have the Coburg, Oregon, and they just basically run, Canada and that area. And then we got some guys that actually just like going out there and they just pretty much stay out there and run out of that area. Now we have loads from here that go out that way, but typically we don't have loads out there that come all the way back this way, unless you find a reload, something that has to be fixed, and they want to bring it all the way back here. Can I find my own load? Absolutely. Best thing you want to do, you're going to call customer service. And some truck drivers, they have contacts, they know people, and you might have a friend who, like a buddy of mine, he actually used to haul boats for somebody through Horizon. And what he would do, this friend of his built these nice boats, and he would get them all fixed up and he would sell them. And this friend of mine, he would actually get a hold of him, and then he would go through customer service. And what they would do is they'd get the load all set up. Once they got that all set up, you would get 85% of whatever the load pays. Horizon gets 15% of whatever the load pays. We insure it. You run under our DOT number and all that good stuff. Just remember, make sure it's somebody that you trust, because you're not going to get paid until we get paid. Because usually, typically on something like that, we're going to pick up a check, or and you're going to bring the check back. You want to make sure it's somebody that you can trust, that they're going to, they give you a check, it's not going to bounce. So, towaway maintenance report. The towaway guys, hopefully you have one of those in your packet right now. Did everybody get? I know most of the towaway guys are over here, right? I think some. You should have a paper in your packet, or paper that's in your packet that basically is your first truck maintenance report. You might not even have to use that one. Because you can actually do your truck maintenance report through the new app. And so when you get on there, it's going to show you, and everybody who has a truck has to do that maintenance report every month. And if you have the app, it's really nice because you can just go through it, you push what you're doing, oil change the ball joints, whatever, put your miles in, and send it in through the app. You don't, it's a lot nicer than the way it used to be. We had a paper and you filled that thing out. Every month you'd have to turn it in. It should have a date on it that it needs to be turned in by. Like I said, through the app, it makes it a lot nicer, a lot easier to turn in. You don't have to worry about losing the paper or anything like that. You guys that have the trucks, the reason my truck had 768,000 miles on it is because I did maintenance. Oil changes and filters are huge when it comes to diesels. Make sure that you're doing that, and shout out to AMSOIL. I did AMSOIL, so if you're not, that's a good idea. So yeah, I've talked to both guys that do both. Okay, that have done one or the other. The one guy told me, he said he would never do towaway just because all the maintenance and stuff like that he has to do on his truck to keep all that up, and he said he actually made more money doing the drive-away than he did towaway. But then you talk to a towaway guy, he's going to tell you just the opposite. He's say, no, you know what, towaway is the way to go. You basically, have your, you don't have to stay in hotels very often. I'll just tell you right now, when I drove, I hardly ever stayed in a hotel. I mean, I just always slept in my truck at a truck stop or someplace like that. I could take my showers at the truck stop. So, you know, so there's, you know,
You did both too.
I did both. And I would say I probably made more money doing the tow away than I did the drive away. So,
Because of the availability or?
well, that and the fact that I had to spend money on hotels and different things like that. So, but you know, it's pretty even. It's pretty close when it comes to it. You know, when you start figuring everything out, and I would say it's probably pretty close.
Okay.
Yep. And now it used to be like when I first started, drive away, there wasn't hardly any drive away to do. But now it's unbelievable how much drive away we have. I mean, we've got yards completely packed full of drive away stuff and tow away as well now. You guys are coming into this industry at probably the best time ever. I mean, it is booming, and it sounds like it's going to be booming for a long time. They've had all these, you know, big wigs that, you know, put all these projections together on how the projections of how many units are going to be transported, you know, such and such year. I think last year they said they projected like 380,000. I think it went over that. Not just Horizon, as a combine of all the different transport companies. This year they're saying well over 400,000, and by 2020 they're saying over 1 million units being, you know, transported. So you guys are coming into this, you know, at a good time, and Horizon is getting a lot of business. I'll just tell you that right now, and we're probably going to be, if not one of the biggest eventually, in all the transport RV companies. So this is the steps to success. Dispatch on a unit. Okay, basically what you're going to do, and we kind of put this together on kind of a step-by-step, what you're going to do when you dispatch on a unit. Whether you dispatch it on your phone or you dispatch it through a dispatcher. Once you do that, your paperwork is all going to be sent. You're going to get an email saying that you were just dispatched on such and such load. It's going to tell you where that load is located at, what yard it is, going to give you the address and all that good stuff. Eventually you guys will know these addresses and you'll go to them like you've been here forever. And you know, but at first you're going to be like, where's the Wakarusa yard? Where's the Goshen yard? Where's the Decatur yard? Where's the, you know, Queen Bee lot and all that, you know, but they're all pretty easy to find, so it's not like it's going to be that difficult for you. And a lot of times, you know, you get with a driver that's been here for a while, he'll say, hey, just follow me, it's over here or whatever. So, I mean, you guys will be able to find these yards pretty easy. But anyway, you're going to get a packet. In your packet, there's going to be different things in the packet when you get to the checkout station. They're going to put your packet together. It's going to be basically in one of these Ziploc bags. We keep Ziploc in business, I think. But, you know, you're going to be in a Ziploc bag. All your information is going to be in there. Your bill of lading is going to be in there, your keys for the unit, your driver's acceptance sheet is going to be in that packet. All kinds of different things that are going to be in the packet when you go to pick it up. More than likely, the title for the unit will be in there. All that good stuff. Things that you can pick up when you get to the checkout stations are things like deer whistles, zip ties, envelopes. Your black book is basically a packet or black book that's supposed to be in the unit anyways. And also this thing you guys need to make sure that you have with you at all times. Your zip ties, what those are used for is if you have mainly a manual awning. A lot of, you know, used to be a lot of these units, they had manual awnings where you basically would pull them out yourself. Those things, for some reason, you know, would come out on their own every once in a while. So we would make sure we zip tied those before they even leave the yard. A lot of times when you go to the yard, they're already done that way. You're not going to see a lot of those manual awnings anymore. They're putting mainly the automatic or the electric awnings on most of the time now. So you're not going to see a lot of the manual, but you know, sometimes you will. So the zip ties are available to you there at the checkout station. Deer whistles, good idea to put those on. Those are available for you to you at the checkout station as well. And you're going to go through that packet and you're going to review that packet to see make sure everything is in the packet that you need. Again, your bill of lading, real important to make sure that's in there. your acceptance sheet, make sure that's in there. Any dock receipts that you need, Canadian paperwork, if you need Canadian paperwork, that needs to be in there. Yes. Check your PC miler. It used to be that they would put a route sheet in your packet. They don't put that in your packet anymore. Actually, they send it in your email. So you're going to get that in your email. Make sure you check that. It's going to give you step-by-step directions, which is really nice. It's a good idea to have a good GPS or something like that. If you do, make sure that your GPS is not just your regular car GPS, because that thing is going to take you down some roads that you don't want to go down with a big Class A motorhome or Class C or pulling a trailer. And just because I've been there. Years ago, I was driving down I had a GPS, and it was a car GPS. Took me down and said, go to this route. So I went on this route, kind of got off the highway that I was on, said it was going to be quicker to go this way. So I'm like, cool. I go down as I'm going around this curve, come around the curve, and there's a bridge that's too low. There's no way I'm going to get under that bridge. So luckily nobody else was on that road, because everybody else was smarter to stay off of that road. I backed into somebody's driveway, had to go all the way back another 30 miles and then back around back on the highway. That's time and that's money. Get a good GPS that's going to, like an RV GPS or a trucker's GPS, will give you a route that's going to keep you, on the routes that aren't, going to get you into those kind of situations. The PC miler, that's what that's for as well. That's going to give you a route to keep you in, the roads that are safe to be on. Again, your bill of lading, you want to make sure that's in there. That's real important. That's probably one of your most important pieces of paper, because not only you have to have it, to deliver the load, but if you get pulled over by DOT or go through a weigh station or something like that and they ask for your bill of lading, you better have that with you, because if not, you can get in a lot of trouble with that. Plus, you're going to want to have that so you can check the unit that you're picking up, with the numbers that are on your bill of lading. Number 2 on your bill of lading, if you look at this, is going to be the customer, who we're basically shipping that unit for. Thor, Forest River, Jayco, different companies, Keystone, all those different companies that we deliver for. Number 3 is going to be the delivery address and contact information. That's really important to make sure that you call those places before you ever go there, especially when it gets close to holidays. When it gets close to a holiday, and a lot of them will call us and say, hey, we're not going to be open from such and such date to such and such date. And then when they do that, that's nice, because you can you can plan for those things. But there are some dealers that never call us, and then we end up sending a driver there. And we get there and everything's locked up, and it says, there's a nice sign on there say, well, we're not going to be open until the 1st of the year, and you got a week to wait. That doesn't feel good. So that's why you're always going to want to call before you go. Call, check ahead. Hey, I used to call them. Hey, this is Terry. I'm a Horizon driver. I'm bringing you such and such unit. I give them the unit number. I always give them what it is. And they're usually going to ask for, and then I ask them stuff like, hey, what's your guys, what time is your check-in, and your check-in procedure? Do I have to have the unit washed before I get there? Do I wash it when I get there, or is there a wash fee that I can pay? What times how early can I check in? How late can I check in? A lot of times it'll be on your paperwork. But there's some places that it'll be on your paperwork saying this is the check-in time and this is what the hours we're open. But there's some places that they'll go past that. There used to be a place I used to deliver in Councils Bluffs, Iowa. They were actually open later. I delivered there until at 10 o'clock at night one time. So it just depends on you call them and find out that stuff before you even go. And there's some places that require you to do that. It says right on your bill of lading. There's 24 hours. They want a 24 hours in advance notice before you get there. Number 4, description of the unit and the ID. It's going to give you, and you're going to need that for your log anyways. And then also you're going to need that when you go, to get your unit out of the yard. You're going to match up those unit number with the unit that you're picking up. Your signature area is number 5. Make sure that you get somebody to sign that thing. You know, the guy who's checking it in, before you leave, make sure all your paperwork's signed. If it's not, it can hold up your pay. You know, and we pay basically right after you deliver and you turn your paperwork in, long as it's Monday through Friday, from 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. As long as you get your paperwork in between there, you're probably going to get paid that day. And so we don't pay on the weekends at all. So make sure you get your paperwork in there. But if your paperwork's not signed, if you don't have a signature on there, a lot of times that's going to hold up your paperwork or hold up your pay.
So when you drop it off, you're getting them to sign?
Yes, they're going to sign. There's 2 different places. There's the spot on the bottom where it says co-signee. That's where they're going to sign. And the other spot where it says Horizon Contractor, of course, that's where you're going to sign. So you want to make sure that's signed. And typically they're going to take a copy and you're going to take a copy. You're taking the top page. Number 6, your hours, your wash instructions, and directions. A lot of times your hours will be on there as far as, from what time to what time do they accept check-ins. Again, make sure you call. They're going to, a lot of times they'll tell you, if it says on there no Saturday deliveries, don't even call. Do exactly what it says. Don't even call. Don't ask them about it. Now, if it just says the hours and it doesn't say anything about don't call, I'm calling them. I'm asking them, hey, is there, if I can deliver this thing on Saturday? And typically what they'll say is, yeah, if you can have it here before noon, that's great. If you can't have it here until afternoon, you're going to have to wait till Monday. So, give them a call and ask them. Most of these places are pretty reasonable and nice about those kind of things. COD, the gentleman back here was asking about a COD. If a dealer refuses, call your traffic manager. COD is do you have to pick up a check? A lot of times, most of these places that, we usually don't have to pick up check, but there are still a few of them that we do pick up checks. If it says $27,501, it better be a check for $27,501. Just remember this. Anytime you have a COD, you see that you have to pick up a check, remember that you need to make sure you call ahead and tell them that, hey, listen, it looks like I need to pick up a check here. Because you don't want to get to a place and the only person who signs or writes the checks or signs the checks had to leave for the day and they won't be back until Monday. So you want to make sure that you call ahead and ask them, hey, I need to pick up a check. Is that check going to be ready or available for me when I get there? That way you kind of cover yourself. You don't want, like I said, you don't want to get there and that check not be ready to go, or the person who makes the check out is not going to be there. One thing about checks too, you have to remember, through the app, you'll be able to send all your paperwork in, and I'm going to talk about this again when we get to that part. But if you ever have to pick up a check, that's something that you have to bring your paperwork and the check back to Horizon or send it back to us. We can't take, through the app, you can, when you send your paperwork in, you can take pictures of all your paperwork and send them in to us, and then you keep the rest of it. It's all yours. We've got it all, you've sent it all in, and then you'll get paid. But if it's a COD, you have to actually send all your paperwork in plus the original check before you get paid. Number 8, any special instructions, different stuff like, if they want you to pull the unit, across the street at their, instead of at the main place, the main building, they want you to pull the unit across the street. That's where they check in the units. Or if they say, the unit is a no-tow vehicle, that you can't tow anything behind the vehicle, or it says on there, they don't want you to tow your tow car on their lot. And sometimes there are a few places like that. I know there's one in Lexington, Kentucky, where they don't want you to pull your tow car. If you got a Class C motorhome or Class A or something, you have a tow car. They want you to actually drop that thing off at the place right next door. They have a big parking lot there. They want you to drop your car off there and then drive the unit onto their lot. I'm not sure why that is, but that's, different special instructions. That's what it'll be in that spot right there. Number 9, a list of documents that need to be returned to Horizon for your settlement. So number 9, that spot right there in that bottom right-hand corner, that tells you everything you need to turn back into Horizon at the end of the day. you know, your bill of lading, your acceptance sheet, you know, make sure your fuel is on such and such. It might have you sign something like that down there. But down there in the bottom right-hand corner is where you're going to look before you leave the dealer. Look at that and say, hey, did I have this sign? Do I have this sign? Is this good to go? Before you leave, that way, you know, you don't get 100 miles down the road and then you're like, oh, dang it, I forgot to get this paper signed. And that's happened. It's happened to me. So this paper here that I'm showing you right here is mainly, you'll get one of these if you ever have a reload. When you get a reload, there's, you know, you go to that paper, it's going to send you that in your email. Yeah, doing your inspection on the vehicles, you know, you're going to be as far as the PTI and stuff like that, when you go out to the unit, you're going to be able to do that mainly right through your app. When you go out to pick up a unit, that, you know, when you have the Horizon app, that number is going to come out, which is really nice now, because the unit that you're dispatched on is going to come up. You're going to be able to hit that unit. You're going to hit PTI, and you can push the picture app. Then you can just take pictures of the unit that you are doing, you know, that you're looking at. It's a good idea to take a lot of pictures. If you see, and they're going to talk about, he's going to talk tomorrow about damages and stuff like that on the unit. I always look at it this way. If it's something that I wouldn't buy, then I'm definitely taking a picture of it. I'm taking a picture of all that stuff on the unit. I don't care if you have to take 20 pictures. And then the best way to take pictures, if I see a cut on something or a scratch on something, don't just take a picture real close of it and send that to me, because I have no idea where that's at on the unit. Take a picture, back up a little bit, or even start off back, put a little piece of tape by it or whatever, get a little closer and a little closer. It gives me an idea where that you know, mark is on the unit. And so, you know, you're going to want to make sure that you really do your due diligence to, you know, to check these units out well before you leave. You're going to have an exit, this yard exit log or release form. You're going to have that in every packet. When you get to the yard, that's going to be in your packet. When you get ready to leave, you're going to give that to the checkout person. It's going to have your name and your driver number. It's not going to be in your book. It's kind of a newer form, so it's not going to be in that book. But it's going to have your name and your driver number on it. It's also going to have a list of, you can put on there a list of damages found during your pre-trip. So if you get out there and it has something like, okay, there's a little scratch in the bumper, you took a picture of that. There's it's missing a hubcap, you took a picture of that. Or the sewer cap is missing, you took a picture of that and you wrote that down on there. The bumper caps are missing, or the tire cover is gone, or, you know, different stuff like that. You can write on that section right there. Nope, you don't really have to worry about the interior, unless you see something, you know, really like, okay, glaring at you. I mean, you walk in the thing and the TV's hanging off the wall. Then that's something that you probably want to, you know, get involved and take a picture of and say, send into the breakdown department. They're going to take a look at it. They're going to probably send it over to Thor or whoever it is, Keystone, you know, Forest River, whoever's unit that is. They're going to send it to the factory and say, hey, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to bring it back over there? Do you want us to ship it this way? And they're going to let us know before you leave the yard what avenue we need to take before you leave. Usually they're going to be, you know, it's going to say, you know, the highest point on the trailer is what it's going to be. Yeah. So yeah, and I'll just tell you right now, there's nothing that's going to be over 13.7. Nothing that we have will be over that ever. And the routes that we send you, those routes are going to be routes where you're not going to have any problem. You know. Oh, I know. Believe me, yeah, I know. But the routes that we send you, they're going to be the routes that keep you, you know, away from those kind of things. So, yeah. It's a good idea. I'll just tell you right now, it's a good idea to bring a tape measure with you and know the height of the unit before you leave. I mean, just for your own, you know, just for yourself. You go down the road and you're like a little iffy about something, you've already measured it and you know for a fact it's going to be able to get through that area. Number 3 is going to be your unit information, and make sure your VINs match. So on this paper that they give you from our contractor, it's important to do those. It used to be, you know, we call in, hey, this is Terry, driver 9193, I'm in such and such, I'm on unit blah, blah, blah. whatever that unit number is. So it's important to do that. When you do it on the app, it's already going to be there. It's already going to know. You're going to look on there, hit the check call, the unit number that you're delivering, and sometimes you might be on one or might be on a couple different units. So make sure you're doing your check call on the proper unit that you're on. Once they get to trust you guys and know you, that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. There might be sometimes you're dispatched on 2 or 3 units at a time. No, when you leave, that's your first check call. When you left, you did a check call right then. So you don't need to do another one until the next day before noon. So, and then when you deliver, then you have to make your delivery call. So you're going to do that as well on the app. As soon as you deliver, you hit the button. I delivered. You're done. And then you can either, if you're on a reload, if you're going to be picking up a load, you can say, I'm in route to or in transit to such and such to pick up this other load then. Again, here's our wash instructions. I know you guys really wanted to know about that. Every dealership or Horizon delivers to has their own unique wash policy. Typically, only travel trailers are to be washed upon delivery or wash fee paid. High cube vans, trucks, buses, horse trailers, and stock trailers are not usually required to be washed. Best bet is to call ahead to the dealership before delivery and ask for wash instructions, unless your bills tell you not to. Again, it's pretty easy. When you call them, ask them, hey, what is your wash instructions? A lot of these places, they just take a wash fee, which is nice. Forest River, I used to look for about everything that Forest River and if it was a Camping World unit, either one of those, because neither one of those I have to worry about a wash fee or washing, period. You don't even have to worry about it, because it'll say right on the bill of lading, do not wash. And so you don't have to worry about it. And you don't have to pay the fee either. So when you call ahead, ask them, do I have to have the unit washed before I get there? If they say yes, good idea is just take it to a truck wash, have them spray it off. You pay whatever it costs, 40 bucks or whatever it is to wash the thing, and you pay that. Make sure you get a receipt. When you turn all your paperwork in, you turn that receipt in as well, and then you get your money reimbursed back to you when they pay you back. If they say no, you just go ahead and bring it on, and you can just pay a wash fee. That's nice too. You don't have to worry about nothing. You don't have to worry about anybody touching it, and so that's nice. I like those better than any of them. Well, I actually like no wash at all better than any of them. But if they say pay a wash fee, that's easy as well. Just make sure you go there. When you pay them the fee, make sure that they give you a receipt, and it has to be a good receipt. A lot of these places already know. So they'll have a whole stack of receipts sitting there. We've been going to them for years, and they know that we have to have a wash receipt. So they'll just pull that paper out. They sign it. It actually says wash receipt right on the paper. It has their logo on it and everything. And they'll write down the date and everything, hand you that, and then you hand them their money or whatever it is, $40 or whatever, and then you're done. Just make sure you turn that in with the rest of your paperwork, and you'll get reimbursed that. Down in the bottom right-hand corner, it usually tells you on your bill of lading what the wash fee is. But just remember, sometimes it'll say $35 or $40, and you get there, and they'll want $45 instead of $40. If it's 45 bucks, and they, is a $5 extra, I just go ahead and pay it. I always have, and I never had a problem getting my money back. I send in that thing, and they always pay me back my $45. So I never had a problem. Now, if you go there, and it says that the wash fee was $40, and what I do is when I call and I ask them, I always ask them that anyways, what's the wash fee? And then you get there and they say, oh, it's the wash fee is $70. Then you're going to want to call and get Horizon involved in that. Just make sure you get them involved. That way they can say, yeah, go ahead and pay it. They have it noted in their file. You write it on the paperwork. Yes, paid $70 per whoever your dispatcher was. Put it in the time that you talked to them and everything. Turn that paperwork in. That happened. The reason I'm saying that because that happened to me at one time, and so I turned my paperwork in and got reimbursed the full $70. Get a receipt. Make sure yes, beside the unit wash is checked off on the bill of lading. Make sure the dealer initials the bill of lading. The initials must match the signature. Some dealers refuse to mark yes on the bills. When they do this, ask them to indicate that a satisfactory fee was paid in lieu of a wash. To get reimbursed, wash receipts must be pre-printed with the name and address of the dealership. Generic receipts will not be accepted. So they can't just take a piece of paper or their business card and write wash receipt on it and give you that. That doesn't work anymore. It used to work years ago, but it doesn't work anymore. So it has to actually be a proper receipt. And again, most of these places already know that we deliver to, and they'll have a whole stack of them sitting there. If you feel a dealer is being unreasonable in what they are requiring, please don't hesitate to call the office. Horizon personnel will assist you on that. And again, most of the time you're not going to have an issue. You know, there might be some times where somebody's saying, hey, you know, you didn't get all the bugs off or whatever. I've had that happen before. I had to wash one by hand. Don't let that scare you either. Probably out of all the units I delivered, I might have washed maybe 5 or 6 units by hand ever. Most of the time I either paid a fee or, you know, had somebody else stopped at a truck stop and had it washed before I got there. Other things, delivery unit, delivery call via the app. Again, you're going to make that call, right? You know, the app is nice. You know, Horizon Transport app. Once you get to the place, you get all your paperwork done. Then you're going to hit, you know, that you delivered. Make sure all your paperwork is signed and that you actually delivered the unit before you hit delivery. You know, you don't, and the reason I say that, because I know a guy that actually, he called back before we had the app, he called and said, hey, I delivered this unit. Just because he wanted to get, he knew the dispatchers were going to be leaving, so he wanted to get dispatched on another load before they left, and he couldn't get dispatched until he delivered the one that he had. So he called, said, I delivered. He got to the place and later on that day, and then they refused the unit because it had something wrong with the sidewall. Nothing he did, but the laminating was coming loose and they refused the unit. So the next morning he has to call in. Not only does he's got to say, you know, hey, I didn't deliver this unit, but then he's got to also tell us that, you know, it's got to come back. It got refused. Well, then they look on his paperwork and it showed that he had already delivered the unit. Well, so now we've already sent an email to the factories telling that unit was delivered. And so now we got to turn around, not only say it wasn't delivered, tell them it's got to come back because it got refused. So don't ever do that. Make sure that if you deliver a unit, it's actually delivered. Report damage via the mobile app as well. The app tells you on there exactly what you need to do. They're going to talk about damages and stuff like that tomorrow a little bit more. Just remember, if you damage a unit, yeah, that's what your $1,500 and your damage deposit is for. You basically have some stake in the game. $1,500 is usually not really a lot when it comes to these units. Most of the time, if something gets hit in the back end or major damage, you're talking, you know, thousands of dollars instead of $1,500. And you know, there are some times where it's only, you know, a couple $100 here or there. You know, those are always nice to see. But you know, if it's something like we had one, actually a deer ran right into the side of the unit, $10,000. You know, so you paid $1,500 of it. Horizon paid the rest of it, and we don't go to our insurance until it hits a lot more than that. So, and that's per unit. So, you know, we try to keep our loss runs down. So, you know, just remember, you know, we have a big stake in the game as well. So if we ever take any money from you, don't get upset. I'm the guy who does that, you know, and so don't get upset with me. I hate doing it. I do. I hate that word.
How many times they took your 1,500?
Never. Well, I take that back. One time I had it in reserve for them to take it out, and the dealership that I delivered to never ended up taking it out. You know, they have up to a year to send in a claim. They never sent in a claim, so I got my $1,500 back into my damage deposit. So what they do is they take it out and they reserve it. They put it in a reserve, and basically it holds there, and you start building your $1,500 back up. If they don't use it within a year, if nothing comes out, they don't send us a claim or anything in a year, then that money goes back into your damage deposit, and then, you know, your damage deposit might be up to $3,000, and you can take that money, that extra money, over the $1,500 and put that on your ComData card. They'll just, you know, you just call in and say, hey, can you give me that money back? They'll just put it on your ComData, and that happens a lot. Every week we do that. We do a over 1 year thing, and we have several drivers get their money put back into their account because it never got used. So, which is nice. I like doing that. So Pre-delivery procedures, make sure you clean the unit inside and out. Check the oil, never deliver a unit low on oil. Be presentable. You are not allowed to deliver a unit subject to inspection without prior approval. You're responsible for damage if they find it. Any signed bills, and they sign the bills this way. You must deliver. I can't even talk. Unit must be inspected. There's only a few things that you can deliver not being inspected, and then you have to have that pre-approved before you even do that. Like a horse trailer or something like that. That's basically just hauling animals. It doesn't have that nice living quarters in it and stuff like that. Some of these horse trailers we do have really nice, but there's not too many things that you can deliver without having a inspection done too. Again, that unit clean inside and out. I don't mean go in the unit and sweep it all out, and because it's going to have sawdust and stuff like that falls in a lot of these. But if you are doing a delivery, I had one the other day. The driver spilled coffee in the unit, and it ran, all the way to the back of the unit. There was a nice coffee stain all the way back. There was coffee and chips and crumbs all in the cup holders and stuff, and he delivered it that way. Well, the place that he delivered, they were a little upset. Actually sent me a nice email, which I probably wouldn't have been that nice if it had been my unit. But, and sent me pictures of this coffee stain running all the way to the back of the unit and stuff like that. The steering wheel, the guy must have been eating ho-hos or something like that, but he had stuff all over the steering wheel. And so, those types of things, we want to make sure you clean that stuff up before you deliver it. And the driver, he actually, because they said something to him about it there at the place. So he actually went and got some cleaning stuff and actually cleaned everything up before he left. But it should have been done before he even delivered the unit. So make sure that, again, I'm not expecting you guys to go in there and clean everything in the unit, but clean up your mess at least. So delivery and arrival times, I'm not going to go into that a lot because I already talked to you guys about that as far as, when you can deliver, when you can't deliver. Basically, you're going to be calling the places ahead of time to make sure what time you can deliver and what time you can't deliver. Any exceptions, we expect you to deliver the units on agreed upon time. And when you do the checkout on the unit, it's going to say, hey, I agree to deliver this unit such and such a date. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes, you run into bad weather, or there's an accident or something, something goes wrong in your trip. That's understandable. Just make sure you call your dispatchers and kind of explain that to them. Hey, this is what's going on. I ran into some bad weather, whatever it is. You go out to Wyoming, sometimes you run into, the wind is so strong out there. There might be sometimes that you can only drive for a few hours, and then you need to get off the road because the wind's so strong. So, we understand that. There's going to be some times that you're sick. Something went wrong. You're not feeling good or whatever. Just make sure you call and let us know those things before. We don't want to have to call you and say, hey, why is it taking you 5 days to go 100 miles? So. Steps to success, also retrieve your items from the unit. Make sure you get all your stuff out. You're not going to want to lose your plates or, forget your plates, because it's going to cost you money. And you do that one time and that hurts. And, I actually forgot a battery one time on a unit. Those are expensive. It was my breakaway battery. I forgot it on the unit. Usually I was in a routine. I always had a routine. I did the same thing every time. I got out of the unit. I grabbed this. I did this. Well, for some reason, some guy got me off my routine there it was at an auction, and he's telling me where to put the unit and everything, and he starts yakking at me, and he's yakking and yakking, and I start yakking back, and next thing I know, I drive off, and I forgot my plate and my battery. And luckily, they sent me my plates, but they're not going to send my battery through the mail. So, anyway, so make sure that you get in a routine and try to stick to your routine. Don't let people get you off of it. Get signatures and check to ensure your paperwork that you returned is all done. You can do that through the mobile app, which is really nice. All your paperwork can be sent right through that. You don't have to. You can if you want, put it in the mail and send it back to us, or bring it all the way back here. Once you deliver, you have 7 days to return your paperwork. After 7 days, there's a $25 penalty. So you want to make sure that you get your paperwork in. Most people want to get their paperwork in right away anyways. So you're going to the best way to do it is through the mobile app. You're going to take pictures of everything, and I'm just going to give you an idea. When you do the mobile app, it's nice because it used to be you had to take a picture of a cover sheet at first. Now the cover sheet is right in the mobile app. So when you do your cover sheet, it's going to be on there when you get ready to do your delivery paperwork. I think they're going to talk to you guys about this a little bit more, your dispatchers tomorrow. But it's nice. What it'll do is you'll go on that. The cover sheet will have, it'll show on there, do you have any reimbursement items such as your tolls or permits and stuff like that? And you're going to type all that stuff in there. Yep, I have a toll, it was this much. I have a permit, it was this much. You're going to put all that stuff in there. It's automatically going to, add all that stuff up for you, or when it sends to the settlement department. Then your next thing is your paperwork. You're going to take, it's going to have you take pictures of your bill of lading. You're going to take picture of your acceptance sheet and any other paperwork that goes along with that load. You're going to take all those pictures through the mobile app, and you're going to crop. You're going to crop all the pictures. If you don't crop them, they'll look like this, and they won't accept them like this. This guy decided he was going to put his paper down in the grass, and he took it and put it down there, and he took a picture of it, and so they don't accept them when they look like that. So make sure that you you crop all the edges and do it the right way. And then you're going to send your paperwork in through the app. When you send it in, again, it's going to go to the ladies upstairs. They're going to go through all your paperwork, make sure everything is done, everything is in, and then it's going to be nice because then they're going to pay you. If everything is proper, everything's signed right and everything's done right, you're going to get paid pretty quickly. If there's a problem with your paperwork, you didn't sign something, or they're going to let you know you're not going to get paid. Like I said, if you guys do the things I told you to do, make sure before you leave that everything's signed. You're not going to have any issues when it comes to that. They pay Monday through Friday, again from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening. If you deliver your paperwork, during the weekend, it's going to be Monday. Just remember, Mondays when the ladies come in to do all that paperwork, they've got a stack of paperwork usually this thick on that machine ready to go through. So there might be sometimes it might be later on in the day you get paid, but typically they try to get everybody paid every day as soon as they turn in their paperwork. Also remember, we're not taking taxes out of anything. You guys are all paid 1099 at the end of the year, so it's a good idea to make sure you put a little bit away. There are a ton of deductions when it comes to truck driving, so make sure that you get a good tax person that knows those things, and so that can help you. The settlement portion of your trip is the remaining balance after receiving an advance. If no advance was paid, then the entire trip fee will become a settlement. Settlements are issued immediately when all your paperwork and logs are submitted to the Wakarusa office. Reimbursement receipts must be the original, no photocopies, and that's not really true anymore because everything you turn in is going to be a photocopy unless you turn the original in. Just remember, again, CODs, if you have a COD, if you have to pick up a check, you have to put all that paperwork either in an envelope and send it to us, or you're going to bring it all back here to the yard, either the checkout stations, or bring it here to the office and bring your whole packet in and turn your paperwork in. Once you send everything, if you send it through the app, that paperwork is all yours, okay? Everything is yours. You can keep it for your records and stuff like that. So, reimbursement items such as tolls, permits, wash, repairs, etc. are credited to your account when your paperwork is processed. All reimbursement receipts are to be submitted with your paperwork. Receipts submitted after your settlement paperwork has been processed will be returned to the contractor and will not be paid. So make sure you turn everything in at one time, because once we do it, that's done. Okay, once we pay you, we don't go back and oh, you found this toll underneath your seat, and then you're trying to get paid for that. Once we pay that one is done. So if you have a receipt that you found, use that for your taxes. Put that on your taxes. So reimbursement items are your oil, your tolls, anti-gel, permits, motels, and wash. Motels only on a breakdown. And guys that you tow away, guys, no, we're not paying for your oil changes or your anti-gel. If you have a unit that's low on oil, drive-away unit, and you've got to get some oil for it, yeah, of course we're going to pay for that. If you need anti-gel, which I'll just tell you guys right now, it's a good idea, even though they say, like in Minnesota and places like that, when you guys drive these units up there, they say, oh, there's anti-gel in the fuel and stuff like that. I would still put some anti-gel in them just because I know some guys that have drove up there before. They said, yeah, there's anti-gel in the fuel, and they get up there and it's 30 below zero, and these things will freeze up on you, and then you're stuck on the side of the road. So it's not a bad idea to go ahead and get some of that and put that in. Of course, your permits, motels only on a breakdown. The motels have to be okayed by, by us, actually by the factory. So if you have a breakdown, something happens, and they tell us, the factory says, hey, go ahead and keep that person on that load. We'll pay for the hotel for the night. Don't go out and don't go stay at the Hilton, okay? Make sure a decent hotel, $75 or something like that. You're not gonna, don't stay at the Hilton. They're not gonna probably pay that. So make sure that but that's only if it gets okayed. A lot of times what they'll say is if it's gonna be a couple days or something like that, they're gonna say, hey, just take the driver off the load. And so we'll take you off of that load, and until it gets fixed, and then we'll redispatch it. It'll go back on the board once it gets dispatched, so or gets fixed. So those kind of things, the only way that we would pay for a motel. Remember, if you have a breakdown, one of the things I always like to tell guys and gals is, if you have a breakdown, make sure that you log it on duty, not driving, because there's always associated with a breakdown is also downtime. After 2 hours, after your first 2 hours of a breakdown, you start getting paid for downtime. And so if you log it incorrectly, and we send that log to the factory, because believe me, the factory is the one that has to pay that, and they're going to look at the log, they're going to send it back to us and say, your driver didn't log it right, we're not going to pay it. It's like $10 an hour. I think it's $10 an hour downtime money. And so, but something's better than nothing. And so, if you don't log it correctly, they're not going to pay it. You're going to log it on duty, not driving. So, after the first 2 hours of a breakdown, you'll start getting paid. But start logging it that way as soon as you have the breakdown. You can say on duty, not driving forever. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So it's just when you come back up on the drive line, you're not gonna have any drive time on. Yeah. So basically, we're only gonna pay you for 11 hours anyways. Okay, on that first day, and so then you're gonna go up, off duty. You're gonna take your 10 hours off or whatever it is. Then when you come on in the morning, you're gonna go back on duty, not driving, until the unit's fixed, if you're still on the unit at that time. 11 hours of driving, 14 hours on duty. Submitting your delivery paperwork, you can see that is up to the driver as far as getting everything in. Again, you can either send it through the post office using the P.O. Box 826, Wakarusa, Indiana 46573, or you can bring it, back to us, just deliver it yourself, or use the Horizon app. Submitting your delivery paperwork, you have 7 days to turn your paperwork in. If not turned in within the 7 days, you'll be assessed a $25 late fee. Horizon will audit your paperwork, making sure everything that is needed has been submitted. When your paperwork is processed, your settlement will be loaded your ComData card. That's how we pay you, is through ComData. If you're not getting paid right away, you could have missing paperwork, you could have unsigned paperwork, you could have missing logs, not so much that anymore because we pull those. You could have damage, or you could have a breakdown. Usually if there's a breakdown or a damage, especially a breakdown, that unit goes into comes back over to us, over in the breakdown department, and we have to do our part. That unit, you don't get paid on that unit until it's actually delivered. So if it breaks down, you get to a certain miles on it, it breaks down, it has to be fixed. Once the next driver picks it up, or you pick it up again and deliver it, once that happens, then you'll get paid on that load. Remember, if you damage a unit, and you did it, okay, you damaged it, you did this, and it, whatever, and it has to come back, you don't get paid for that trip. Okay, you're basically, you drove it there, you damaged it, you're bringing it back. You don't make anything on that trip. If you got a settlement, if you got an advance on that trip, you end up having to pay that back. So remember that. You know, don't let that be a surprise to you. That's why you need to make sure you're really careful when you do this job, because you don't want to damage anything and not get paid for it. So Comdata is a card money services that enables you to access your funds through the electronic account. You may redeem your Comdata card or checks at most fuel stops and banking institutions nationwide. All of you should have a Comdata packet. The packet has your ComCard instructional guide on how to use your Comdata system. Comdata is really nice, but they really like their fees. You know, the only thing that's not free is basically that semi-direct deposit, and it's basically it says direct deposit, but it actually isn't. You have to initiate that transaction, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. There's different things that, you know, if you use it at the truck stop, it's a $2 fee there. ATMs, you know, you have to pay the the fee to use that, and then whatever the ATM fee is. You know, different places, Walmart, it's going to cost you use it there, it costs you to use it there, it costs you to use it at all these different things. They love their fees. It's a good idea to try to get the transfer feature set up. And Horizon Transport recommends the Comdata Funds Transfer feature as a means of transferring your funds due to the cost fee convenience it offers. Please note, while other options are readily available, costs can add up quickly, creating unnecessary expenses. Like any tool, Comdata can be used properly as a helpful convenience, or improperly, resulting in excessive transaction cost. Again, the transfer feature is real nice. You have to get it set up though. You must apply for the transfer feature. I don't know if has anybody done that yet? Okay. Yep, it's a good idea. And if you haven't done that, what you do is you have to bring in a check, or from your bank, have them fax over your routing number and your account number. They'll set that up. It takes 10 days to get that feature set up. And then what it will be is when we pay your Comdata card, then after we pay you, then you can actually either go on the phone and call them yourself and transfer the money on Comdata, or you can put that, it's called Fleet Advance, and you get on Fleet Advance, and actually you can transfer the money from your Fleet Advance Comdata to your bank account, and that'll all be hooked up. It's kind of a nice deal to do. Just remember, it takes 10 days to get that set up. Once you initiate the transaction, it takes 1 or 2 business days to get the money from the Comdata into your account. There's another way to actually get your money. I've heard other people talking about it. I've never done that, but they say in the meantime, before that gets set up, you can always go to Walmart. I guess Walmart, you can, at the service counter, you can pay them $3, and you can get up to $1,000 off your Comdata card. So, and it's a good idea. I had a spreadsheet. I did a spreadsheet on my computer where I kept track of everything I ever bought for the truck. You know, how many miles I drove, all that stuff. I kept track of everything. And then at the end of the year, I just put it all on a flash drive. I take it into my accountant. I gave her the flash drive. She plugged it in, put everything right in her system. She loved it because she didn't have to go through a whole bag of receipts. Detailed activity reports are available directly from Comdata. Contractors can access the reports through the Horizon Transport Driver Services webpage. The reports are accessed through the link Money Services. After today, maybe tomorrow, you guys will be able to get on actually the Horizon website. You know, just how you guys went and put your application in, instead of going on to new driver, you guys are going to hit current driver. Once you click on current driver, it's going to open a box where you have to put your user name and password. Your username is going to be your driver number, and then your password is going to be the last 4 of your social security number. And you'll be able to get on the web page. There's a lot of good information on there. There's different tutorials on there, all kinds of different stuff that you can look at on the web page, which is going to be nice. And then plus there's where you can get on the Comdata for a detailed activity report. Also, I guess if you go to that Fleet Services app that you can get for your phone for Comdata, it gives you a whole breakdown of everything on there as well. Your pay history, again, is going to be on the app. You can access that right through the Horizon app. And to set up your PIN card, this is what you're going to use. It's the You call that phone number, that 800-741-6060, and just follow the prompts. It literally takes about 1 minute to do. All right, each driver who operates a commercial motor vehicle shall record his or her duty status for each 24-hour period as described in section 395.8 in the FMCSR book. That's that little green and white book that you guys have. You know, make sure that you keep that with you at all times. Anytime you're driving a commercial motor vehicle, you need to have that with you. Also, you guys need to have that read by tomorrow. Just kidding. You did? Okay, good deal. So, record of duty status. Line 1 is your off duty. Anytime you're on that line, of course, you're off duty, not engaged or responsible for assigned work.
Are you on a particular page?
No, I'm not even on a page at all. So we're just going through the, and there is actually a in your book. There's actually a scenario in the book for logging, but it's actually logging paper, which is a good idea to know that as well, because you know doing your Eclipse, or not Eclipse, doing the Keep Trucking is basically like doing paper. You're just doing it on your phone or on an iPad or whatever you're doing it on. So but we don't, you know, the nice thing about that, it actually gives you warnings if you're if you're not doing something right. It'll say, hey, you're not supposed to be in the red, or or on this part, it's going to give you a warning showing you. On paper, it doesn't do that. That's where we got in some trouble. That's why we finally went to more of a computer-based deal than the paper. The reason you guys have a logbook in your packet is if something happens where you drop your phone, or you lose your phone or your iPad or your computer or whatever you're keeping your log on, you lose that, you still have to log. You have to have some way of doing it still. So we give you the paper to be able to do it until you get your phone or get your computer fixed or whatever it is, and then you have to actually transfer that stuff back onto your phone. That's how we get your logs. You can't turn in paper. Your sleeper berth, all time is line 2, all time resting in a sleeper berth as described in section 395.2 and 393.75 of the FMCSR book. Does anybody in here have a DOT certified sleeper in their pickup? Probably nobody in here does. Remember, nobody in here should ever be on line 2. Even if you're sleeping in the back of your truck, in the bed, or in the back seat of your truck, if you're sleeping in a motorhome, in the back of the motorhome, that is not a DOT certified sleeper either. So you can never be on that line unless you have a DOT certified sleeper berth. So nobody in here will ever be on that line. Line 3 is your driving line. Anytime, all time spent at the driving controls. So that's line 3. And then line 4, on duty, not driving. All time from the time a driver begins to work and is required to be in the readiness to work until the time the driver is relieved from work in all responsibility of performing work. So on duty, not driving again, anytime you're doing your pre-trip, anytime you're doing a post-trip, anytime you're get DOT inspection is on that line. Anytime you're getting fuel, any breakdown, time hooking and unhooking from unit, or delivering, all that time is on duty, not driving. Also, any company directed activities such as safety class or drug screen. Our drug screens are random, so every once in a while you'll be pulled to do, and don't think we're just pointing you out, or hey, we want to do one on this guy all the time. That doesn't happen. I thought it was kind of that way because I got pulled twice in like a month. I was like, wait a second, what's going on? And but that it happens. Every once in a while that it happens that way, but not very often. No, you're not a driver yet. Until we're completely done with tomorrow's class, you're not logging. So you're going to do a 7-day off-duty log, but to get started. But but this class you're not logging at all. Your 70-hour rule: a driver may not go on duty after having been on duty for 70 hours in 8 consecutive days. Your 14-hour rule, a driver may drive only during the period of the 14 consecutive hour after coming on duty following 10 hours off duty. The driver may not drive after the end of the 14-hour period without first taking 10 consecutive hours off duty or on break. At the beginning of your day, when you put yourself on line 4, on duty, not driving, it's just like flipping over an hourglass with 14 hours of sand in it. Once you flip it over for your 14-hour clock, it does not stop. So basically, as soon as you go on duty, remember, you have 14 hours in to get your 11 hours of driving. If you can, you're not always going to get 11 hours of driving in. It happens sometimes where you won't. You need to get your fueling, anytime hooking up, anytime delivering, any of your breaks, all that stuff has to be done within that time frame. Your 10-hour break, start of a work shift. A driver may not drive without first taking 10 consecutive hours off duty. Your 30-minute rest break. A driver is not permitted if more than 8 hours have passed since the end of the driver's. And you guys, listen, if you have questions as we're going, don't hesitate to ask, because I want you guys, this is probably one of the most important things of this class, knowing how to log. Because you get out there, Horizon has it's a no tolerance policy. If you're not logging correctly, you get caught, and it could be your job because of that. So make sure that you know what you're doing. Who in here has never logged before, ever? Okay, all right. It sounds harder than what it is. It's actually not that difficult, but I definitely recommend that you guys go home or go back to your hotel tonight and actually look at those tutorials on how to log. It's going to help you, and we're going to go over a tutorial here in a few minutes that you guys can watch, and we can go over it, and you guys can actually go over it again when you get back to the hotel. That way you know what you're doing. Your 34-hour restart, 30 consecutive hours off duty will reset your 70-hour, providing you abide by the following: the 70-hour rule, the 14-hour rule, the 11, the 10-hour, and the 30-minute break. There are 3 differences in Canadian law compared to the U.S. law. You must complete a 36-hour restart instead of a 34-hour restart. Every 2-week period, you must have at least one period of 24 hours off duty, and you must carry 14 days of logs in Canada. United States is 7 days. Canada, it's 14 days. So, does most of you guys have passports? Okay, if you don't have a passport, you can't go there unless you have that enhanced license. You can go there if you have the enhanced license. So make sure you don't have anything on your record, or you won't get out of there, or won't get in there. So seriously, it is. They let you in. Getting out, it's the hard part. U.S. drivers will need to document the beginning odometer mileage with your PTI and every change of duty status for each day when driving in Canada. The ending odometer mileage also needs to be documented with the post-trip inspection. Make sure the total miles driven for the day matches the difference in the beginning and the ending odometer readings. Plates for the truck and trailer need to be recorded also. This is all stuff, if you go to Canada, that's stuff that you have to do. Using the 14 on duty, the 11 driving, and the 10-hour off duty hours of service that we're accustomed to will keep you legal in Canada. Though their rules are more complex, these hours of service practices are legal there. No change is required in logging these hours. Horizon drivers must document cycle 1 on the top of each log page in Canada. This indicates that you will comply with the 70 hours and 7-day rule. We do the 7 and 8 hours instead of the 70 hours and 8 days instead of the 70 hours and 7 days that they do. So basically, and then just remember, you got to keep 14 days a duty status if you're in Canada. Logging as you do it, it'll keep you legal. It'll keep you safe and legal. You don't want to be talking to that guy. Bad audits affect everyone. Again, Horizon's policy is that we have a no tolerance policy when it comes to logging. It's important to log. I always give this whole deal, I kind of stand on my soapbox when I talk about logging every class, just because I don't want anything to ever happen to you guys. When it comes to logging, it's basically a legal document. All right, remember that. It can cost you everything if you don't do things right. If you go out there thinking, okay, I'm going to cheat the system, I'm going to figure out how to log, and get myself a couple extra hours here or something like that. Remember, that's probably what the guy thought that years ago they actually made a movie about it. It was called Switched. These two girls ended up getting killed here in Indiana. It was like a bus full of kids, church thing or something. They got hit by a truck driver, or they ran in front of a truck driver or something. And the one girl, there were several people killed, but there was two girls that were in it. The one girl, they were both long blonde hair girls. The one, she was actually killed. The other girl was actually badly, injured. They ended up putting the one girl in the hospital. The one family thought that was their daughter that was in the hospital. The other family thought their daughter had died. They ended up having a funeral and everything, burying the one girl. Come to find out, their daughter was actually still alive in the hospital. The other family, their daughter was actually dead. The thing that they don't tell you in that story is about the truck driver. The truck driver wasn't his fault at all, but a lawyer ended up getting a hold of his logbook and found out that he wasn't logging correctly, and said that if he would have been logging correctly, he wouldn't have been at that place at that time. Therefore, he would have never hit that van, or the van would have never ran in front of him. Lawyers are like that. They're going to figure out any way they can. So this guy, he ended up getting a manslaughter charge against him. He lost everything, lost his job, lost everything he had because of that. Not too long ago, the Walmart driver that, Tracy Morgan, and killed his very best friend, and Tracy Morgan is just now getting where he can actually do stand-up again. Well, that whole deal there, that Walmart driver, the same deal. He wasn't keeping his logs correctly. Ended up getting a manslaughter charge against him, losing everything as well. So, you guys, this is a legal document. Make sure that you do it like a couple hours is not going. If you're that close on your logs, then you're not doing something right. If you can't, you just need to make sure. Yeah, I understand the whole thing because I was out there too. I know, but you need to log correctly so you don't get yourself in trouble. Yep, weigh stations, if they're open, you have to go in.